Hello everybody, this is Design Minutes and I'm your host Yash. Let us proceed on to today with the database layer. First of all, let us see what we visited yesterday. We saw the single server architecture which consists of a user, a server and a DNS network. We understood how this works and its problems as well. The major drawback was that user data cannot be stored persistently as well as any server outage may lead to permanent loss of data. Let us view the database layer today. The database layer consists of our previous architecture plus our added database. It is as simple as that. Basically, we're only viewing the most simple architectures right now. The flow of data is pretty similar to our previous architecture. The user enters the URL in the browser and then the URL goes to the DNS server, which resolves the URL and sends back the IP address. Finally, the user sends its request back to the server, which is connected to the particular IP address. The server then requests the database for whatever information or whatever operations it needs to perform, such as create, delete, read, update, etc. The database returns the data, and the server finally sends it back to the user. The flow is once again pretty basic and nothing too complex. As we know, the major advantage of the system is that the server and the database can be scaled independently. That is, the resources such as the CPU and RAM available to the server can be increased without affecting the load on the database or without affecting the size of the database and vice versa. And also, since now the data is stored in the database, even if the server goes down, the data is secure and it's stored persistently. Let us visit the types of databases. There are primarily two types of databases. The first is the relational database or SQL database. As we all know, it consists of tables and rows and can perform complex join and SQL operations. The second is NoSQL databases, which are mostly used to store unstructured data or if we require super low latency. Now, what are the major drawbacks of the system? The major drawbacks is that the present system only allows vertical scaling. That is, vertical scaling is that when we can increase or improve the performance of a system by adding more RAM, CPU, or other resources to the system. However, horizontal scaling consists of improving and increasing the number of servers. The vertical scaling has a problem. That is, it cannot be extended indefinitely. That is, obviously, the RAM and the storage cannot be infinitely kept on adding. Therefore, now let us visit the problems. The problems are that the present architecture only allows vertical scaling of database and it is also a SPOF, that is a single point of failure, since there is only single server. Also, since all read and write operations go to the database, therefore it also becomes a bottleneck as each operation takes a lot of time. Therefore, we can improve our existing architecture by adding two things. First, a load balancer in order to ensure the horizontal scaling of our server. That is, we can add multiple servers using a load balancer. Furthermore, we can improve our database architecture by adding a master slave architecture. We'll go through this in our next few minutes. Thank you.